Ben Paul said he appeared to 500
Here's Johnny. Thank you. Well, hello there, social media family. Being of any persons among yourselves, of whom are from my followers, as in AK subscribers, to any visitors who are supposedly affiliated or associated with and are representing my own particular personal YouTube social media channel. And likewise, chat room comment section complimenting the same of the said in question aforementioned. Well, at least technically, if not officially, being that because not any visitors to it being of some of such can or could possibly be considered as being officially of a status, at least not until much more, many more visitors were to think of it with a mass intentions to possibly and or finally subscribe as other visitors already had done or did just that, being the same of the said in question and or aforementioned, to become or be officially or of official status as any other subscribers. Otherwise, you will not be given the same props or respect. Then, because first of all, you would have to do that. So you're really just, still, if anything, just a visitor to it, being of my own domain, that being of which I myself am, that is my person, the sole owner thereof, and how much less I will respect you if you have not as yet subscribed to my channel, but yet you want to come into my chat room comment section and make like chatty when those kind of props or respect or rights and or privileges is only to be given to any subscribers to my channel. Otherwise, if you do that, you risk that other chance at any given moment in time of me myself, and when you least expect it, thinking to not only silence your chat, but if you persist in attempting to come off like a chatty, being of which is a status only reserved for any subscribers, then visitors, then from there, I myself, being my person, could possibly contemplate blocking you from my channel. In which I really don't want to do that, but in order for reasonable purposes to keep any visitors from becoming or being quite an annoyance or annoying and disrespectful of my channel and our chat room or conversation, then that would be the last stage of development, so that you won't be disrespecting it being of the same or the same question and aforementioned, and or make it not only quite an uncomfortable atmosphere for a person of I myself, yours truly, namely me being one of the hardest working YouTubers who have yet to become or be a household name, not only citywide, statewide, and nationwide, but worldwide. But then you would be disrespecting literal actual subscribers who had done much more than to just simply press the like button to any of my social media content material or video broadcast. Otherwise, if you're not going to just take a minute to subscribe, by pressing the subscribe button, then please don't just press the like button. I mean, are you that lazy? I would appreciate you more if you were to subscribe just as much or that much. I mean, I would appreciate it more if you were to think to press just as much or that much more. The subscribe button is what I meant to say. Yeah, speaking correct, proper English grammar, American dialect or not. I mean, don't do that to yourselves. You just make yourself look ridiculous when you do that. And you're not giving me my respect whenever you do, and you're making yourself look just that, as I was saying or stating correct. You know, I mean, you can do better. That's pathetic or pitiful whenever any visitors do that, because it don't put me any closer to reaching my goal, being which is to acquire the 4,000 subscribers stipulated by the YouTube administrative representative personnel so that they themselves can or could possibly begin paying any social media influencers who are affiliated or associated with and are representing their own particular social media network. Don't do that to yourselves, okay? Then, as a backtrack here, the reason I put being in the I can go on with the problem to continue from when my person had last left off, as in finish up in completing a former previous or prior line of thought in the sense of the word or in the similar so, if not in the same. Whereas I was asking you all questions as to how your person are doing, being of any subscribers and our visitors, even so. And for that matter, how are any of your loved ones, being any family members and our friends of your many different households? Hopefully all's well that ends well with you and yours, and equally well all the same or likewise with me and mine, and moving right along. And whereas the present social media broadcast being as we have it of some such video content material is regarding or making some such reference to how this one female or woman's children's author or novelist, who had written on the subject matter of how to deal with grief regarding the loss of, or making reference to the loss of a loved one, being of her husband, who she herself, rather, is what I meant to say. That's the correct English grammar, American dialect or not. And Prince Peace continue regular mind compared to how the Prince documents tips of computer. Yes, after she had written this book, or supposed so-called or practically, if not possibly, Pulitzer Prize winning novel, being the author of this book on the subject matter of grief over the loss of a loved one, she had unalived her husband, her significant other of a spouse, for the insurance money. Isn't that ridiculous? I'm like, what the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? What the frolicking in the hay? Yeah. She herself had literally actually done that, or as she did. Google it. If some, if not all of you don't believe me. Yeah, I couldn't make this up, And I'm like, what? And whereas as she had been mandated as a subpoena to appear before a judge, jury, and prosecutor, whereas from there she was sentenced, regardless of whether or not she had any defense counsel, a legal attorney or attorneys or lawyers otherwise present within the atmosphere of the courtroom for his premises, properties, wherever the legal proceedings had taken place or happened. Don't ask me where it was at. I do not recall or remember or recollect upon short notice. I'm sorry about that. But then, regardless of whether or not I do a second installment upon this particular, that is another social media broadcast video content material upon this particular subject matter. I think that I have given you all at least a general idea. Like I said, you can Google it for yourselves. And as I think of it with that, my mind's tends to backtrack here, reason purpose being in order to complete a formalized thought. And whereas from there, upon being subpoenaed to appear within a courtroom and or upon a scheduled appointed date, she herself was sentenced, regardless of whether or not she had any legal counsel for the defense present. She was sentenced by judge, jury, and prosecutor to life in prison, if I do recall or recollect or remember. Yes, if I do recall correctly. Without possibility of parole. Where she therefore had been given capital punishment, being of either, the gas chamber or electric chair or that liquid fire of lethal injection. And how she had unalived or ended the life of her loved one, of a husband or significant other, whereas she herself had secretly fed him some such poison to collect on an insurance policy she had drafted on him. Isn't that disgusting? Really now. I'm like, what in the world? I mean, this is the kind of world we're living in. Some really stupid and or crazy persons, or being of the likes, to be compared on to my present proverbial neighbors from damn hell. Public nuisances are problem neighbors, for where my person am presently located at as a resident or tenant, paying some such annual monthly rent, utilities, and etc. until I myself could possibly not to become lucky, but to use a better word, a better choice of words, until I were to have bestowed upon my person to become or be blessed to get back to much more familiar territory than this really bad neighborhood where I'm at now, with the characters within, as in relocate, move myself, my person, and even so, some, if not all of my personal effects, belongings, or possessions to much more familiar territory, being some such for the atmosphere of vicinity area, being a much better and or more familiar neighborhood community, being a one that is less impoverished or less poverty stricken and less crime ridden. Less poverty stricken with less food deserts, because I'm having to go all out my way to properly nourish myself with purchase food item products, for where I'm at the moment. And especially if any the likes of certain other neighbors, if you know what I mean. And as I was saying, I'll state it for the record, being of the same said question and aforementioned, could possibly be doing much more than just, committing acts of theft, purchase item products from business companies or corporations otherwise that one could order for online or via that any advertisement commercial magazines, via the U.S. postal system or UPS packets United Parcel Package services, otherwise for that matter. As in if they could possibly themselves be complementing some such matters, coming off like package stealers, to compound the problem by, you know, stealing some of such of my food supply at some such a given moment in time. And then to possibly worse yet, be attempting to bother with me personally by coming off like, worser party crashers, as in intruders, home invaders. And that's why you have got to keep a working electronic cellular device or cell phone, to simply say, in the event of an emergency crisis, especially if somebody is attempting to threaten your life, and not just verbally, but physically. If you know what I mean. Read between lines, fill in the blanks. Then hopefully you will sleep with something up under your bed, like a Louisville Slugger, as an AK baseball bat, or something similar like a golf club or crowbar or hammer, just in case, and as a matter of self-defense, and only as a matter of self-defense, if you don't have something that could prove to become or be equally as well or that much more volatile, equally as well being of a sharp object of a knife or dagger or straight razor or ice pick, if not a poo-poo. Better yet, being of a loaded lethal weapon of a firearm for security reasons and purposes, being namely for self-defense. Yeah. Anyway, though, I just thought to share with you all, and getting back to the original subject matter before I were to close out and give you all the salutation. And as you all know, that I would usually, at the end of, that much more, or mainly most at the end of a social media broadcast, share with you all the gospel message of salvation by Lord and Savior Christ. And regarding making reference to his blood sacrifice. Salvation by saying, if you have not gotten Christ as your own personal Lord and Savior, I will hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in vain, by recognizing what he himself had done and did upon the cross of Calvary, fulfilling biblical prophecy as God had come in human flesh, to restore the breach between himself and mankind made in his image. Whereas if anybody were to profess faith in him, would become blessed in one regard or another, in more ways one. First and foremost, with his salvation, being which is the only means by which any of us can or could possibly become citizens of the kingdom of heaven. And as the blood sacrifice, salvation is the only fire insurance against the lake fire down hell. And then second of all, with his deliverance. But first, we have got to get his salvation. Otherwise, you have nothing coming so far, blessings concerned. You make that transition for the great beyond of the hereafter, and you don't have it, then your final resting place will be damn hell, then, for you to become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. Y'all take care and be safe, and we're out. Peace.